Now at 6, post-Christmas cleanup. We have some tips on how to recycle your Christmas waste. Plus, police in Webb City, Missouri investigate the case of 2 burning cars in the same driveway. And a Galena, Kansas business owner wants to bring a 22-foot tall landmark to town.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
For a lot of families, Christmas comes with gifts, and gifts, of course, come with wrapping paper. This is KOAM News at 6. I'm Dow Quick. Now some places, including the SEK Recycling Center in Pittsburgh, offer 4-staters the opportunity to recycle materials that would otherwise go to the landfill. KOAM's Fernanda Silva shows us how to tell the difference between what can be recycled and what cannot.
Christmas time is very, very busy around here. Usually starts a week or 2 before Christmas gets here, and then afterwards, as you see, we start getting a giant influx of wrapping paper, cardboard galore.
Cassandra Steinbrook is the operation manager at SEK Recycling. For her, ensuring wrapping papers are recycled is a way to help the community.
Well, we get so much of it this time of the year, and it would just be sad to just see it all go into the landfill. I mean, it's paper just like any other paper. There's just no reason to see it thrown away when it can be processed like a cereal box or a soda container.
There are 2 easy ways of knowing if your wrapping paper can be recycled or not. One of them is just by making a ball with it. If it stays like a ball, then it means it can be recycled. If it doesn't, then you cannot recycle it.
The other way is by tearing the paper. If you cannot tear it, then you cannot recycle it.
Very important to make sure that there's no ribbons on it, none of the string that people like to tie it up with, any of that plastic-based stuff that's not really paper isn't supposed to go in there because it doesn't get processed the same way.
In addition to wrapping paper, cardboard, white styrofoam, and bubble wrap are other items that can also be recycled. Even fake trees can be taken to SEK Recycling.
Those are basically metal and plastic, so those are completely recyclable. There's even more recyclables at this time of year, so of course we don't want it going to the landfill. We need to preserve that as long as possible.
A way to make sure the environment is as happy as you were when opening the gifts. In Pittsburgh, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
Now to find links to information about the SEK Recycling Center and the Joplin Recycling Center, check out the links on our website in this story, KOAMnewsnow.com. Check in with Chloe Arroyo now for a first look at the weather.
Yeah, this afternoon we had some snowfall, nothing significant. It was very minimal, very light, but here's a look at that. It has really deteriorated and pushed off to the east. It was really sticking into our further eastern counties all afternoon, and so you saw those flurries here and there this afternoon. Greenfield, Smith, Miller, Golden City, you guys are still seeing a couple flurries here and there, but nothing in terms of significant accumulation by any means. Therefore, our road conditions, at a minimum, they're pretty clear right now. Does that mean they will be clear later on this evening into tonight and early tomorrow morning? That's something we'll keep in mind, as black ice is still a significant factor. Now coming up in a bit, we'll talk about the snowfall timeline as well as well below freezing temperatures heading into the rest of the week and your New Year's Eve forecast coming up.
All right, see you soon. Authorities in Webb City, Missouri questioned the timing of 2 car fires in the same driveway early this morning. Reports of the fires came in just after 4 a.m. Fire from one of those burning cars did damage to the siding of the garage. No one was hurt. A Joplin medical clinic is offering $1,000 to anyone who can identify this burglar who broke in on Christmas Eve. It happened the early Sunday morning at Gardner Express Care at 1701 West 26th Street in Joplin. The surveillance video shows what authorities believe to be a male suspect breaking glass and entering the offices. Authorities say the thief stole some prescription medications, and now police are asking for the public's help in identifying that burglar. A burglary call in Parsons, Kansas turns into a drug bust. Parsons police officers responded to a call last night for a burglary in progress. Authorities conducted a safe sweep of the house. They found no signs of a burglary. What they did find was marijuana paraphernalia. Consent was given to search the residence, which turned up, they say, not just paraphernalia for marijuana distribution, but also a pound of marijuana. One person was arrested with charge pending. A juvenile was also arrested but released to his parents. The Ottawa County, Oklahoma jail says it's in the process of replacing all of the plumbing in the facility. In addition to running all new cold water and hot water lines, the facility is replacing the boiler and putting in tankless water heaters. In the meantime, drinking water is still available, as well as for washing dishes and flushing toilets. Questions can be directed to jail staff, but they're asking people to be polite, to be patient. The project is being paid for out of grant money from the Miami tribe. The owner of Gearhead Curios in Galena, Kansas, wants to bring a new resident to the city, a 22-foot tall one. Aaron Perry hopes to replace a fiberglass giant of a statue known as Big A the Texaco Man at his business by 2024. After an initial down payment with the designer, Perry hopes a fundraiser will cover the rest of the cost in bringing this larger-than-life new resident to Galena. Perry says the appeal is nostalgia.
Nostalgic America. People travel for the giants. Nostalgic America was famous for those giants on road trips, advertising different places. And I want to say I've arrived, but it's kind of like I've arrived. I'm here. I'm going to have a giant on Route 66 in the Jefferson Highway.
Enchanted Castle Studios fiberglass giants are around the country, most notably Buck Adam of Buck Adams Cosmic Curios on Route 66 in Tulsa. A little bit later in sports, it's a big night for area basketball as the Neosho Holiday Classic tips off tonight. John's going to have a preview of the matchup in just a few minutes. But first, KOAM's Tanya Bach takes us back to Red Oak 2 in Carthage to see how the project continues despite the passing of its artist. The creator of Red Oak 2 passed away in 2020. For the last 4 decades of Lowell Davis's life, he worked to build a town just off Route 66 based on memories, history, and art. As KOAM's Tanya Bach shows us, even though the artist died, the art project Davis started is still living and growing.
Animals just show up at Red Oak. They don't really, we don't know where they come from. They just show up and they make this their home.
Jeremy Morris may be talking about pets, but he might as well be referring to the people who've made Red Oak 2 their home. Residents who could have driven by, but instead are driven by the vision of the late artist Lowell Davis.
He would smoke his corncob pipe and adjust his ascot, and people from all over the world would come up on the porch, and every night after work I'd rush over there to see who was next, and Lowell would tell them stories of Red Oak or just about anything that was on his mind.
Those stories, Davis's art, and a brand new town filled with history helped Morris decide to purchase the parsonage and make the move to Red Oak 2. And he wasn't alone.
It was the first time I met Lowell Davis. It was on July 4th, 2004. We came and visited him at Red Oak 2, and it was hot and humid, and the last place I'd ever think of moving to.
Larry Cernick came back to visit later that year, and it just so happened several of the South End properties were for sale, including his future home, the Civil War House.
You know, this was the style back then. They had 2 front doors.
He also purchased the Dalton Gang childhood home that Davis doubled in size after saving it from a cattle pasture in Oklahoma. In the original house, Adeline Dalton raised at least 8 children by herself, including future lawmen and notorious outlaws. Speaking of outlaws, Davis's own home in Red Oak, the famous Bell Star House, is where, according to legend, the Bandit Queen of the West was born in Carthage, Missouri. Davis's widow still lives there today. One of the most commonly asked questions when people visit Red Oak 2 is, are the headstones real here in the graveyard? And the answer is yes, but there's only one person buried here, and that's Lowell himself.
So he created his own grave, and he wanted to be buried in the middle of his artwork. He said, Jeremy, I just got to make it from the porch to the hill, and that's what we did.
The other tombstones were donated to Red Oak from a monument company and had never been used. In fact, the entire foundation of the church is also made from headstones. Even after Davis's death in 2020, residents like Morris and Cernick continue to add to his dream.
So this cabin was owned by a man named George Hornback, and it was on the bluffs over the Spring River west of Carthage in a little place called Jasper Village.
The cabin, built in 1938, was used as the first Jasper County courthouse.
Lowell had always wanted to get that building, It was never available, though.
I'll feed you later, baby. He definitely had a plan of how he wanted this place to go, and he had a vision for what kind of community it should be.
A vision the residents and animals of Red Oak 2 are holding on. Reporting along Route 66, Tanya Bach, KOAM News.
Cernick is making big plans for the Red Oak train station this spring. He's adding a locomotive with a wood tender, flat car, and a caboose, and smaller train sets for families to enjoy inside that station. A little bit later, area boys and girls basketball teams look to be the last team standing as the Neosho Holiday Classic begins. John's going to break down the bracket in sports.
Plus, we have some winter weather ahead of us, but will that affect your New Year's Eve forecast? I have all the details coming up next. Well, I saw some flurries on my way to work today, and man, what a beautiful sight that was, but nothing prepares you for those cold temperatures. And man, oh man, I stepped foot outside of my car and it was a breezy one. It was a chilly one. Here's a look at our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort just west of Seneca, Missouri. The snowflakes have pushed off to the east, so we're in the clear right now. This afternoon, most of southeastern southeastern Kansas and Missouri saw this snowfall from this low pressure system right here. It has decayed quite a bit and pushed off to the east, but our further eastern counties, Greenfield, Smith, Miller, Red Oak, even Golden City, you guys are still seeing a couple flakes here and there into the evening hours. It is very light, if at all, and so nothing significant in terms of accumulation. And because of that, our road conditions, this will be peace of mind for a lot of people driving this evening off work or heading home. We're pretty clear right now. Now, will that stick? Not for sure. We'll keep an eye on that heading into later on tonight and early into Thursday morning, because we'll see those temperatures cool down quite a bit. Now, speaking of those temperatures, right now we're just a hair above freezing for the majority of us. Miami, Grove, Jay, you're at 37, Pittsburgh 34, Joplin 35. Monette, you're at 32, so you're at that freezing point, so any type of accumulation or any type of snowfall could stick at that point. Now, our future temperatures, they're going to dip down into the lower 30s and upper 20s for most of us, but our feel-like temperatures, mid to upper 20s for the majority of us as you're waking up Thursday morning to go to work. Expect 20s, 25 Chanute. Iola, you'll feel like 26, Nevada 31, Welch, you'll feel like 26 degrees as you're heading out in the morning. So bundle up, make sure you're staying aware of that and plan accordingly heading into the morning. Now, Wednesday, Thursday, and even Friday, we'll see rounds of possible flurries here and there. I say possible because nothing much in terms of accumulation. We'll see it anywhere from a trace to half an inch. However, if you're going to the city, Kansas City, a little further north in the next 2 to 3 days, we could see 1 inch to 2 inches possible for some localized areas. So as you have those plans as you're heading out, especially if you're going down Interstate 70, make sure you're keeping an eye on that and avoiding bridges if there's any type of accumulation possible. Now, ringing in the new year, we'll see our temperatures in the lower 30s to upper 20s on Sunday night, so make sure you're bundling up if you have those plans outdoors. But I mean, you're probably going to want to stay indoors for your New Year's Eve plans, so make sure you're keeping aware of that. 26 degrees by 12 a.m. will be cloudy for the most part. We'll have a couple of stray showers in some portions of the viewing area. Not everyone will see that, mainly further south in northeastern Oklahoma, northwestern Arkansas. We'll have a break from the precip as we head into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And Thursday and Friday, we'll have a slight chance for showers, but we'll see those warmer temperatures. Not by much, though. Upper 40s.
A little bit will be welcome anyway. I'm sure some of our viewers will recall Chloe Arroyo, who's been filling in for us periodically, most recently in the summer. And we'll see you in the coming days as well, and we welcome you back, Chloe.
Absolutely. Thank you. Good to be here.
Still had several high school basketball teams make their return from the holiday break, including Seneca, who plays Benton this morning. John Dales has highlights from that game and a lot more. It's coming up next in sports.
Welcome into sports and welcome to the 2023 Neosho Holiday Classic. This basketball tournament featuring teams from 5 different states, Missouri, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas, the boys tournament featuring two brackets. McDonald County in the black bracket along with Seneca. The Mustangs fall to Huntsville in their opener, 54-45. They'll play in the losers bracket tomorrow morning at 11:30. Meanwhile, Seneca boys basketball playing against Benton, opponent here from St. Joseph, Missouri. In that contest, Miles Bacali of Benton, getting started early. He lays this one up and in the first quarter. It's 3-1 Benton at that point. On the other side, Gavin Hoover shoots it in from the paint for Seneca. That makes it 5-3 Seneca. Then Benton Zach Smith tosses it in from the paint. Next possession, that ties it up. Still in the first, Bacali again for Benton. Makes it 10-9, Seneca up by 1. Then at the buzzer, at the end of the first quarter, Zane Grotchon for Seneca throws it in from half court. Seneca up by 2. Second quarter, McDowell, Kalen McDowell hits the shot to make it 15 apiece. Then McDowell again, 17-15. Benton pulls ahead. On the other side, nice quick little dump inside and a score for Seneca. Ties it at 17. Back to Benton, though. Mac Mayhem with the layup down close. Benton up 21-17. After that, Roman Miller, floater up and good for Benton. But how about this? At the end of the first half, Seneca, Zane Grotchon, this looked familiar. Another half-court heave is good. 27-25, Seneca up at the end of the first half. But after a back-and-forth second half, Benton takes this one in the final seconds. Seneca falls by 2 and will play Bentonville West JV tomorrow afternoon. One more game in the boys' black bracket. The host school Neosho facing Westwood, another Memphis school. That game happening 7 o'clock tonight, so it hasn't quite gotten started yet. The Wildcats win it. They move on into the winners bracket. That would be the semifinals, which take place tomorrow afternoon. If they lose, they're in the losers bracket along with Mack County and Seneca. We'll have more coverage on this tournament as the week progresses. Meanwhile, Seneca girls hoops playing in the first game of the tournament on the girls division. At 11 a.m., the Lady Indians facing Whitehaven, a Memphis school here in the 4 states for the next couple days, and the Lady Indians fall in their tournament opener 57-11. They'll play tomorrow against Huntsville from Arkansas, who fell to Lafayette this afternoon. Meanwhile, Neosho girls basketball in the middle of its quarterfinal game right now. Lady Wildcats in a matchup with Crooked Oak, the Roughnecks located in Oklahoma City, and we'll give you an update on the final score of this one later tonight. The Lady Cats win. They face the winner of Hillcrest and Bluff City tomorrow afternoon. That's the final girls game of the evening. That's all for sports. We're back after this.
Here's a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Authorities in Joplin released the identity of a man killed in an officer-involved shooting on Christmas Eve. Plus, we're going to have some tips to bring in the new year without breaking the bank. And we're going to look back at the top entertainment stories of the past year. Those stories, a lot more, of course. It's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Again, Chloe, we're looking at the possibility of some flurries in the days ahead.
Yes, next 3 days to be specific, and then Saturday we'll see a break from that before New Year's.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here for KOAM News at 10. Let's make it a great evening.